Hey, Baku-san JRPG, how you doing this evening, my friend?
Howdy ho, neighborino. Did I do that right? Was that good? Okay, no, that was bad.
Perfect. Nailed it. Is that you, Ned Flanders? Is that you?
No, was that Nat Flander? Oh, snap! That was Nat Flander. That was, I was trying to do Mr. Hanky's like
Oh,
slash.
the
Yeah.
how?
There you go. Oh God, yeah. No, I like merged the two of them.
Yeah, you
because...
did. I diddly ho there, neighborino.
Oh my
A little,
God.
little bit of both. Hey, good to see you, Baku. How you been, buddy?
Good, good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I haven't seen you since last Monday. This Monday.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Mhm,
It's
yeah.
been like 6 days since I seen you, man.
It's been 6 whole days, 6 long days.
Finally, I get to see your smiling face again, bright and cheerful in this. Well, it's not morning, I guess, in the evening. But hey, guys,
Little too bright. It's just-
welcome everybody to HitPoint, the new JRPG news show that we also use to talk about anime and figures and other niche stuff, whatever we really kind of feel like talking about at any given point. If it's interesting to us, chances are we're going to end up talking about it. So hey, welcome everybody. We do have a top headline. Oh, I will say, yeah, we'll also preview trailers. We'll talk about some rumors and stuff. And we're going to be answering some questions. If anybody has any super chats or anything like that that they would like to throw in, we'll answer those at the end. But we will try to keep an eye on chat as we go. Now, we do stream live every Sunday. Well, not every Sunday. Last time it was Monday, but weekly. We aim for Sunday around 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And today's top headline, Baku, you wanna read today's top headline for me?
Top headline. I thought that's like your thing, but all right. I'll read it because you wrote it. Nintendo hates you and money. They're shutting down servers because your poor grades. Wait, what?
Oh.
That was my first time seeing the headline.
Yep. So that's I think that's the thing that we've been seeing a whole lot of lately, and we'll be talking a little bit about that. There's also some other cool stuff, whole lot of headlines, and one of them is particularly interesting because it has to do with ATLUS and a property, an intellectual property that they haven't really touched for quite some time, called
Yeah.
Soul Hackers, and we'll dive more into that in a little bit. But for now, let's go ahead and talk about some of the feedback that we've been getting from our lovely viewers.
Absolutely. So we've got one from, and I'm going to butcher this. I believe is T Talt. T Talt.
P-Tort.
P Tort.
Yeah, I mean, I think I remember seeing that name before, and I've always said P-Tort in my head, and I think that I think they've been on Twitch, and I think I've called them P-Tort and haven't been corrected, so I think it's P-Tort.
Let's stick with that. Hello there, P Tort. Loving the breadth of content you guys are covering. Definitely didn't expect figure drop announcements, but love the idea of cool JRPG merchandise updates. Listen, if it's related to JRPG, it's fair game here. So we're going to keep that coming for you. Thank you so much for your comment.
Yeah, thank you so much, P-Tort. Let's see. So then, regarding Nintendo Online, Noraldine, I I have no idea if that's correct. Noraldine the Popagator, and Franklin Cipher.
Cipher. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think Cipher. Yeah.
Okay, gave us the correct prices for the Nintendo Switch Online services. Last week, I made I was making a point about the idea of giving you games as a service, essentially, where you'd have to pay weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever, to continue playing the games, and the vicious cycle of getting sucked into those, essentially. And how I talked about it was, I gave some numbers off the top of my head. I said like, I think, did I say $20 a month? Did I say $10
Yeah.
a month? I
It
said
was
20.
$20 a month. I was like, oh God, Nintendo, that's egregious. Like that's like
Yeah.
more than my Netflix account. Like what's going on, Nintendo?
So-
What are you offering?
Exactly. I done goofed by making instead of looking up the actual numbers, I said $20 a month, and that was incorrect. Nintendo Switch prices are actually much cheaper than that. So you can pay what was that? For individuals, it's $20 a year, which is actually not that bad. You know, this was in the discussion of the Mother 1 and 2 titles. So honestly, that's a really inexpensive way to play both games. If you have access to them for the whole year, you're probably going to be hard pressed to get a poor value from signing up for that. I'll say that much. In the pre-recorded version where I edited things, I did make a point of correcting things there. But yeah. So thank you for the correction there, guys.
Thank you all. And then last but not least, we've got let's see, comments from Miss Ragnarok and Valkyria.
That's I think yeah.
I'm gonna try all kinds of pronunciation. One of them has got to be right.
Or maybe Valkyria. Could be.
Could be Valkyria. Let us know in the comment which one you preferred. Okay. Regarding the voice of cards, they've informed us that it's not really a card game. It's more of a turn-based RPG. Think more like D&D than a card game. And they both think Derek may enjoy it. Listen, thank you both for the comment and the corrections. The demo is out, so tweet at Derek if you think this is a game that he should give it a go. Tweet at him. Just always tweet shame Derek if you want him to play a game.
That's the only way things get done around here is if I get shamed into doing it. So
no, but I really do think that game is right for you though. I truly do. I've seen some gameplays, you know, and I'm just like, Derek might like this.
Maybe I should. Maybe I can make an experience points video out of it, because the thing is, like, on the face of it, like, just looking at it, what I saw from that trailer, I don't know, maybe it was just a bad trailer. The trailer itself made it look really bad, to be totally honest. The trailer I saw just, it looked like, I don't know. I guess that the cards, though, as I understand it, as I've read, are more of an aesthetic than an actual gameplay functionality. So that means that I'll probably like it a lot more than it looked like I would like it.
Yeah, they represent like individual characters, you know, and instead of like, you know, oh, I play a trap card or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
that's the extent of my knowledge in trading card games. So it's Trek Card Activate, Shadow Realm. Actually, no, I lied. I play Pokemon cards.
All I know is that a 2/2 is a bear. That's all I know.
Oh, actually, recently I instigated 2 different streamers to go up on each other on what's that new what is it, Master Duel on what is it, Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel?
Don't know.
And I had arranged for a friend to commentate on it, and then that fell through because, you know, they moved the time. It got like massively delayed, and then so I was stuck commentating on a game that I knew nothing about.
He laid down a card. Oh, yep, it's a trap card. No, it's not. No, it's not.
The only time I knew anything happened was when like the player took like a hit. Oh, hit points! Oh, they took a hit! Oh, snap! The crowd goes wild. It was terrible. But hey,
that sounds incredible.
If anybody's watching who knows what they're talking about when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh cards and Master Duel, we might have another one coming up. You want to sign up? You want to come and commentate, man? Like, have you got a
VOD of that? I would like to watch. I don't care about the card game at all. I just want to see you commentate something that you don't know what you're doing. Like,
I don't know if there are clips of like me just going like, oh.
I just want to see this. I just want to see this setup, and then freeze frame, and then you say, "Yeah, that's me." You're probably wondering how I found myself in this situation.
I do have VODs of it because it was relatively recent. I don't think Twitch deleted it yet. In fact, I should save that VOD. You know what? I'm gonna make a note. I'm gonna make a note to save this VOD.
That sounds incredible. Thank you so much for saving that for posterity. The people need to see this. I need to see this. This is a completely self-serving goal here of mine.
I'll send it to you later. Yep.
So, really recent releases.
Yes.
Were there any? It doesn't look like it. Not really.
Nope. there are no recent releases.
Cool. Just checking.
I even put not applicable.
Yep.
But upcoming games though, let's talk about that.
We've got a lot of upcoming games.
we got exactly one upcoming game.
A whole lot of one upcoming game.
A whole lot of one game. Okay, so we've got the Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster coming up. As you all know, I don't think this game needs any introduction. It's just the best Final Fantasy ever made, and anyone who says otherwise is just wrong. It is developed and
six
published
specifically. Six is the one that needs no introduction. Okay.
Yeah, six needs no. Well, I mean, the entire series, I think, needs no introduction. But sure, okay, let's give it an introduction. The year was 1980. Actually,
okay, let's not go that far back.
But okay, so this is a game that was originally out in Super Nintendo. It has a remaster a couple of times. Most notoriously the cell phone port. Yeah, that then got released onto Steam. So fans been really wanting a remaster version that would actually look not horrific. So hence coming with the Pixel Remaster series for 1 through 6, and this will now be the last of the classic Final Fantasy, if you will, that will be remastered. And it is gonna come with updated pixel graphics, hence the Pixel Remaster, rearranged soundtrack, improved gameplay, and much more. That's taken from the Steam page.
So if I told you that I lived under a rock and I had no idea, like, what exactly, I've seen the trailers, I've seen the pixel perfect remasters being like announced and stuff. I've just not been following that at all.
Okay.
What did they actually do? Like that's what I'm looking at these, and they don't look all that different from playing an emulator with widescreen support.
Well, that's a good question, Derek. And I think we should ask Square Enix, what the heck did you actually do? Well, I think in many ways, this is a way for you to now play it legally.
Sure,
if you will.
Sure.
Right? But that's about it, right? Like other than I mean, I don't want to dwell into like the question of emulation. But I feel like that's sort of the same idea with like, say a game like Trails from the English name? From Zero. Trails from Zero and Azure, right? Because originally, well, not originally, but before the official release, you can get the game, like you can buy the PC version, and then say that you own the game, and then finagle it and get the mods in there, and it's all technically legal. Of course, there are plenty of people who also just downloaded the game without paying for it. Look, no shaming here, but I'm just saying that's what happened. Then comes the official release, and you can just buy it legally and play and support the creators. So in that vein, that is an avenue now for you. And we will talk more about being able to, buy games that are relatively old and in an official capacity, right?
Yeah.
So I think for the most part, one of the most important function of this release is just that. It's so that you can buy this officially from a store, and get that like sort of like GBA kind of graphics without the GBA content, that is.
Basically, yeah, because I mean, on the bright side, it looks like overall the pixel remasters that they're doing, they're at least not making things worse, which is more than we could say for the original iOS port for Final Fantasy VI, which just, if you guys haven't seen the screenshots from this, I don't have anything pulled up, but just do a quick Google search. You'll find they look all pastel colored and like smudgy and weird looking and cheaply made.
It's egregious.
So the fact that they're like going back to the pixel art style, I guess maybe that's hence the moniker, the pixel remasters, right? Is because they're returning to the original style more or less. I think that the sprites are reworked a little bit. There might be a reworked script. I'm not super familiar with them, but I will say at least it doesn't look like they're making things, at least as far as I can see, they're not worse than they were on the Super Nintendo, which is an improvement. But that said, I'm still kind of conflicted about this remaster in particular. And I guess to an extent, a lot of the remasters, because I feel like this is just. I
you want to say cash grab, right? You want to say it. You want to say it. You want to say cash grab. You're just.
I'm dancing around the phrase cash grab because I do feel like it's inevitable, though, that at this point we're going to see an HD 2D release of the game, right? It feels inevitable.
Here's to that potential. We see something like a DQ 3 HD 2D. And I guess what frustrates me is
Live
that
Alive.
Live Alive.
Oh yeah. That's it.
Live Alive. Final Fantasy 6. And again, Final Fantasy needs no introduction in the West, right? Final Fantasy 6 is, perhaps I personally think it's better in a ways that FF7 is sort of like the one that opened the West up to JRPG, and
it opened the floodgates.
Really,
but this was super classic,
right. And even then, even though FF7 and I would argue that FF7 is the most popular Final Fantasy ever in the entire franchise. Even then, FF6 is like a close second, and it's not nostalgia factor for most people, which speaks volume to the quality of the game, I think. When you can be close seconds and you didn't get to be that like floodgate opening game, like it definitely speaks volume to the quality. So that being said, it is dying for a actual good remake. No more remasters. It's dying for a remake. And then here's Square Enix like, ta-da, DQ3. It's like, I thought you guys didn't have the resources to do this, but clearly you do.
Yeah.
So I don't know what your excuse is at this point. Some folks are like, well, couldn't they do like a 3D kind of like love and give them those 3D sprites? Yeah, prepare to wait like a couple of years. You already see what's going on with F7. Do you really want to see that for FF6? But I think HD 2D is sort of like the perfect medium, right?
Yeah,
like I've talked to a lot of people.
It's the sweet spot. It's the sweet spot between like a full remake and continuing to keep with that 16-bit aesthetic.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's an inevitability at this point where we're going to probably see it. But at the same time, they announced this whole project with all of the pixel remasters, and of course, they've got to put this one out, but that in like another year or two, they're going to put out another remake or remaster of it, especially if, Live Alive also does really well, and Dragon Quest 3 does really well,
Triangle Strategy.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I know I did read a comment the other day. Somebody said that they weren't a fan of the HD 2D, but they were the only one. We found him. Everybody, we found him. We found the guy.
Should call this person out. I'm kidding. No, I love, like aesthetics is very subjective, and I like telling people that your personal opinion is absolutely valid, even if you're in a minority. But for a company to act, it's the aggregate, right? Like, I don't like Chrono Cross. I've been very vocal. I don't like Chrono Cross, but I'm in a minority, and I am definitely, I acknowledge that I'm in a minority. And when the game comes out with the remaster, I'm not mad at it. I mean, because I don't like it doesn't mean that I'm mad at it.
Yeah, not everything has to be for everybody, right? Like,
absolutely. Absolutely.
But I will say, I don't necessarily, because you brought it up, I don't necessarily feel like you're in a minority as far as disliking Chrono Cross. Yeah.
Really?
I think especially earlier on, the dislikers of Chrono Cross were the majority, or at least they were the vocal portion of people. Just over the years, I think that more people have kind of come around to Cross over time, and maybe have gotten tired of hearing about Cross being bashed. So I still don't think that you're in the minority. I think it's honestly probably it's a toss-up, kind of 50-50. Some people really love it, and some people really hate it. Because yeah, it's true. Because if you go around and check around some threads, anytime Cross comes up, there's maybe a few extra people who like it, but then like there's a really vocal group of people who also really hate it. So
I'm yeah, I've got to tell everyone right now that the reason why I don't like Chrono Cross is not because it didn't live up to Chrono Trigger somehow. Okay, just want to throw that out there before and it goes like, oh yeah, you just don't like it because it's a Chrono game, but not a Chrono. And nope, that is not the reason why. But if you want to hear more about it, ask me in my live streams. I'm happy to tell you. But let's not waste time here talking about it though.
Good point.
Derek has heard about me saying this like over and over the years. I don't think he wants to hear this anymore. But with regards to FF6 though, yeah, HDTD, I think it is coming. It is unfortunate that they didn't decide to do this on, but I will say though that in Square Enix's defense, the Pixel remaster for 1 through 3 looks phenomenal though, like compared to the original game. They've done a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because to bring that graphic style up to like the same standard as like 4, 5, and 6, they have to do a lot more work. So I feel like 1 through 3 is very worth your money. 4 maybe. 5 and 6 questionable, because I felt like those two titles could have used the HETD sort of remaster and it would have done amazing.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
my opinion. Yeah.
I also kind of wonder, sometimes graphic styles just don't age really well. Over time, they become passe. Pixel art is one of those things that has stood up the test of time for a very long time. It's entirely possible that in 5 years we will be HD 2D'd out, and these pixel perfect remasters could be the ones that age the best out of everything. It's entirely possible.
Absolutely.
I'm not holding my breath on that, but I will say that there is something to be said about the fact that they will still be somewhat timeless, but at least enhanced for 16:9 monitors and stuff. So there is that.
Yep, and only time can tell. Only time can tell. Do you mind if we look at the Twitter post that I added for that?
You bet. Here, you have it pulled up.
Let's see. Let me pull that up really quickly. No sound on this one though. So, okay. Yep, I've got it. Okay, so this is the post that everyone's been talking about, and if you haven't seen it yet, now you're looking at it. So the post in question is a February 12th a tweet from Square Enix. Okay, so let's take a look and see if you spot what's wrong with this. Okay.
I can spot the difference.
That? Yeah, you can spot the difference. Okay, yeah.
Oh.
So for anyone who does not know about Final Fantasy, there's this whole this is like huge deal. Maybe only in the West. I think in Japan they're just kind of scratching their head, like, what are you talking about? Because I don't think they really made a big deal out of it. But at least in the West, when you Sabin to suplex the fandom train, the train's supposed to flip upside down, right? Because that's you suplexing something, and I guess the West just like made this into this like huge meme, so much so that and perhaps maybe how propelling that meme is games done quickly. Is it games done quickly? The charity sort of event, So much so that one of the sort of like gold, like cash achievement, donation achievement is for, these speed runners to, on purpose slow themselves down to suplex the train for theatrics. Instead of just Phoenix Feather and just call it a night on the fandom train, right? Much quicker way to deal with this train than to actually fight it. But just for the theatrics, we will suplex the train if we can hit certain donation amount.
Now as a quick illustration of what it should look like here, I'll switch to my screen here. And this is a demo that's been shown to us by Something Classic in their game Quartet here that they're working on here. So I'll go ahead and play that for you so you can see an illustration of how it's supposed to be done when you suplex a train. You got to flip the train over, okay?
Yes.
That is how that is done.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Okay.
just, for the A/B comparison out there.
Absolutely. So, because they show that, there was basically this like Twitter like uproar. Everyone's just like, "What did you do? What did you do?" It's like, yes, I knew you fixed the pixel. It's the remaster, but come on, we wanna flip the train upside down, us per tradition. So then, so it didn't take long for Square to officially respond, and I quote, "We're still hard at work polishing Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster in time for launch next week. And we saw some of your comments that the fandom train didn't flip during Meteor Strike. The video was taken from a pre-release version. It will be adjusted in time for launch," end quote. So
we did it, Twitter.
We did it, Twitter. So not only can you shame Derek into playing games, you can shame Square Enix into fixing the train. Thank you, Twitter.
That is one of the there are very few things out there that have redeemed the existence of Twitter, if I may say so. But this is among them. Them fixing the Chrono Trigger port to Steam, and I think Sonic, the Sonic movie being fixed is one of 3 instances in which Twitter has somewhat redeemed itself for existing over the years. And shame the corporations into fixing the media.
just remember, guys, with the great power comes great responsibility. Shame responsibly.
That's right. Shame responsibly, everybody.
Responsibly. You guys know I had to bring this up if we're going to talk about FF6. Okay, so the game, it will be released in actually 3 days from now, February 23rd, on Steam, with planned release on iOS and Android coming soon. If you do get the game today, you will enjoy 20% off for actually all of the Pixel Remaster until the 6th is released, I think. So if you want to pick up any of these and you want that 20% and you don't want to wait until the next sale, now's the time.
How much are they?
I think $15 with the discount. So
okay,
yeah.
Okay, that's
not bad.
I mean, bad. If you're getting all 6, that's rough, but I get you.
No, I think if you get the bundle discount, you get additional % for it being a bundle. I don't know exactly how much that is altogether, but I know for a fact that if you get FF6 with the discount right now, it's $14.99, so about $15.
Okay. I'm hoping to hold out for a Nintendo Switch bundle. And I know everybody's like, Nintendo Switch bundles, boo. But well, not everybody. There's some people who really want Nintendo Switch bundles, and some people who really don't care. But I kind of want one. And I'll hope I'll get it for $60.
Please, they're gonna put it on the cloud.
So Babylon's Fall got a demo, or is getting a demo. Babylon's Fall getting a demo on the 25th. So this is a game by Platinum Games, and it's going to be published by Square Enix.
Yes,
it is a co-op action RPG set to release the full shindig here on the 3rd of March. And those who pre-order are going to have early access to the game on the 28th. So you get it a whole 3 days early.
Whole 3 days for betting on a game and not sure if it's going to play well. But do you? I'm sure there's a lot of like publication who already got like their early access and they're just like enjoying the game. I know there's a beta test out there, so you can actually see some gameplay if you're interested. I mean, already on YouTube, but
it is Platinum Games and Square Enix, like and when they work together, very seldom I think have people been really disappointed by what they've put out.
I mean, they've only had one collaboration, I think.
Near Automata, right?
And that was it. But that's only because Yoko Taro was there. So now you remove that, and I don't know if.
Oh, is he not involved? I guess he's not. He's got his own thing, right?
Yes, that's where the Voice of Cards comes in. He's been working on Voice of Cards. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's hope that Voice of Cards was worth it.
Yeah, and we're definitely gonna have a more in-depth conversation in next week's show, right before the launch. We'll talk more about it, as I'm sure more news and more information is gonna come out for this game. So I mean, we could talk about it right now, but more things will come up, and then then we don't have anything to talk about next week. It's an editorial decision, everybody. But hey, the demo is out on the 25th, so if you'd like try it, let us know how you feel about it. I'm gonna try it myself just to see what this cooperative action RPG is really like. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Do you have anybody that you're going to co-op with that you know of?
If we can shame Derek into playing together. How'd you like action games, Derek? How'd you like action games?
I'm okay with action RPGs.
Okay.
Action RPGs, not action games per se.
Yeah. No, I have absolutely no idea how how you pair. Can you go in as a team? Do you want if you want to play with a friend? Can you? Oh, right. I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea how this thing works. So I'm kind of going to go in blind just to see what it's like, and I'd expect it to be an absolute mess because us you do with games online feature. So I don't expect it to play. Yeah, I don't expect it to play perfectly smooth, but we'll see what happens.
Can you recall any game that had launched with like just a out of the gate of completely hassle-free multiplayer experience? Servers working like a champ?
Not that I can think of, but then again, it's not really fair because I don't really play a lot of games that involves multiplayer. I'm a solo guy.
Yeah. Plus, plus those things also don't make headlines either. Nobody's like Super Mario Odyssey launched online with perfectly fine. I mean, I don't know if that actually.
Yeah. It's always you always hear it because something goes wrong, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fair. Yeah. So no idea, but we'll talk more about it next week.
You betcha.
Okay.
So we got another game here. What's this one here?
Yes.
Replay.
So actually, no, that was a typo. My bad. The
Oh.
game is actually called Relayer. So Relayer is a game that I plan to talk about at some point. There is a trailer that you can take a look at. It is a tactical RPG. It's a mecha tactical RPG that's set to release in March 24th on PS4 and PS5. The demo for this game will be released actually also on the 25th, but only in Japan as far as we know, which is very strange because the international release is in March. So there's a chance that maybe they actually meant release for demo internationally as well, but I don't want to misreport. So if you're really interested and the demo doesn't come out on the 25th, you can always hop over to the Japanese server and just like pick up the demo anyway. I mean, there's really nothing that stops you from doing so. And if you do want to check out the demo, you will be able to go through the first 2 chapters of the story, about 9 stages, and the save data will be transferable. Did you want to take a look at the trailer?
Yeah, let's do that here. Let me pull this up.
So you see what kind of game we're talking about.
Kadokawa Games, that sounds familiar. Okay, so this is like a tactical RPG in space.
Yes.
Okay. So it's like kind of reminds me of like Gundam Wing, like the Gundams out in space.
This is very Gundam-like.
Where have I heard Kadokawa before? It sounds...
They're one of the largest publisher in Japan, so it's not surprising that you've like heard of them.
Yeah.
Like multimedia company. They're not just a game publisher.
I was gonna say
they publish all kinds of things.
I feel like I've heard about like anime by Kadokawa as well.
Anime, manga, like novel, magazines, you name it. They're huge.
Okay. So this is therefore likely to be a pretty big deal.
Yes. So the development of the game is actually headed by the president of Kadokawa himself.
What?
So they're betting big on trying to turn this into a multimedia sort of series. So game now, it could be manga and novels later. They really want to make this a thing. So we'll see. This is like the first.
This is the first
It looks
entry
really
in a
good.
new multimedia empire that's being built by Kadokawa Games.
They're hoping. They're hoping. They're
Wow.
hoping. Yeah.
I mean, it looks really awesome.
It
Gotta
looks
be honest.
phenomenal. Yeah.
Like I like the look of mecha. I've never gotten into mecha properties, but that looks really sick. Oh yeah, what do they call that? The pose,
No, that's not the sunrise. The sunrise pose is something else.
oh,
But that looks like a Gundam Wing situation, right?
yeah,
That looks like a Gundam Wing. Yeah.
that
So
looks
there you
pretty
go. That was
sweet.
Relayer. That was Relayer. It is again coming out in March 24th. We'll have a more in-depth talk about this game. Probably right before the launch, including any information. If there are limited editions on any of these games, you will definitely hear about it. Okay.
So that
Um,
reminded me of a comment. It wasn't even a comment on the video, but it was one of the very first chats in
Mhm.
the last stream where somebody was saying, and I can't remember the username, and I'm sorry if I've forgotten, but they were saying that 2022 would be the year of the tactical or strategy RPG, and I feel like there were a lot of games that I was able to think of off the top of my head that might lend that some credence. So we've got this one that we just saw.
Yes.
We've got Front Mission that's getting the remake. We've got the
Triangle Strategy.
Triangle Strategy. We've also got the remake of Advance Wars 1 and 2. Like we've got some pretty solid games if you're into strategy RPGs and tactical RPGs.
Yeah.
This is shaping up to be like a phenomenal year, but this is just February.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Not to mention that there's a game called Super Robot Wars 30 that came out for the first time really in the West in a modern console. It is available on Steam. It's a sort of a anime mashup tactical RPG with all kinds of mecha from different series. It's one of the largest franchise actually that you've never heard of, which is insane. Well, I don't want
Yeah.
to say you. I'm sure a lot of our viewers. Oh, I know. I've been playing that game for 20 years.
It was pretty underground for a very long time in the West.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that they've got actually 30 entries in the series.
No, it's 30 years.
Oh, 30 years.
30 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Sorry.
It's been out for 30 years.
Okay.
That's
I was gonna
insane.
say I saw the title Super Robot Wars 30, and I was like, wait, what?
What happened to the other 29?
where have I been? But I wouldn't be surprised if there was as many as 15 out there of the entries in this game series.
I can't even count because they don't do it by numeric. They use letters. Well, they started off by doing numbers at first, but I say at the minimal 20 games.
Oh
at
my
the
god.
Minimal. At the minimal. Yeah.
See, I wasn't completely off my rocker to think that they might have been thinking about 30 games, but and that's just with my cursory knowledge of how huge this franchise is, the series of games. And the fact is, it's crazy how many different IP crossovers they could get in on this. Like Square Enix with their Kingdom Hearts games, they were able to bring in all kinds of Disney franchises and stuff. But imagine getting Disney on board and then Nintendo on board, and then I don't know. I would say Marvel or something, but that's also Disney now. So I guess the point kind of gets moot after a while. But it's the crossovers that they're doing with these. It's incredible that they're able to do that, and the logistics of that must be insane. But anyway,
part of what makes it easier though is that Bandai owns Sunrise, and Sunrise owns Gundams and a whole bunch of other mecha series. So a lot of them are actually in-house.
Okay, so it would be closer to saying a big crossover with all of Disney's IPs essentially, because Bandai's massive.
Yeah, but you're also not wrong, right? Because you have things like Evangelion, that's Gainax, and that's completely separate. You have things like Macross that comes in. I said Macross, I don't care. It's not Robotech. Who was it? Who holds the Macross IP? Like, was it
Lucky.
Golden? Whatever. Those guys. My God. Yeah, they're the reason why there's no Macross in the West. But yeah, Robotech. Anyways, yeah.
Golden Harvest.
So
Golden Harvest. Was that it?
I don't know, golden something. It's just but
Screw
in any
those
case,
guys.
yeah, screw those guys. You said it, man. You said it. Yeah, but you also
Harmony
not
Gold.
Harmony Gold. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah,
Yes.
we see we are reading chat. Yeah, and so there are other IPs. And the interesting things that I guess folks don't really know is that voicing in this game, it's kind of a rite of passage for some voice actors and actresses in Japan as well. That's kind of an unspoken thing.
Really?
Like, yeah, because think about it. Like, if you are voicing lines for this game, then that means that you were in some kind of a leading role in these mecha genre, right? So it's kind of a thing. It's kind of a thing. It's like, oh, congratulations, like you got to lend your voice in this game.
So
It's
all
it's
I
the
need to
thing. It's the
do,
thing. Yeah.
all I need to do to become a real Seiyu is to go to Japan, break into one of their acting sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got this.
Voice yourself. Convince them to use it. We will cover if you guys want to see this, we'll cover the entire journey from the flight into Japan to the break-in to the voice section to the convincing to
We're
the
gonna
arrest.
live stream it. Yeah,
we're gonna live stream the whole thing.
live stream the layover in prison. Yep,
the conviction, the prison sentencing. We're gonna
all live. We'll do it live.
We got you covered, right?
That's right.
Yes. But yeah, that game looks really cool, and I can't wait. I'm a big Mecha fan, so we'll see what happens.
So we also got a new game that was announced.
Yeah, we got a couple game announcements. So these are the ones that aren't coming out soon. There's no action from any of you guys that needs to be taken, but something to get on your radar. So there's a game that recently got announced from Axis. And they have announced this basically a first-person dungeon crawling turn-based RPG. And are you ready for this, man? I gotta take a deep breath before reading this.
This title. Oh my. Let me give this a go. Okay, because I don't speak Japanese, so I'm gonna butcher it. And then whatever you do, will. Do
you want me to highlight it so that you can? Here, let me highlight it for you. So
that's that's the title. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's the title. Go ahead.
Monster wo Taoshite Tsuyo Kenya Yoi. Wait, Yori. Whoa. Tenni Shinasai. Shindemo Akiramezu ni Tsukiyo Narinasai. Yuusha Taiga Maou wo Taosu. Hey, Maou. I saw that one. Maou is Taosu Sono hi wo Shinjiteimasu.
Yeah, I don't know if I can necessarily do a lot better than you, to be honest with you, because this title is so ridiculously long.
This title stretches on like 3 lines in our doc that we're reading from right now. It's like
that is the actual title of this game.
The title is a paragraph, guys.
That's the actual title for this game. So here we go. Monsterを倒して強い剣や鎧を手にしなさい。死んでも諦めずに強くなりなさい。勇者隊が魔王を倒すその日を信じています。It's basically translates to, okay, please defeat monsters and obtain strong swords and armors. Even if you die, don't give up and get stronger. Believe that one day the hero's party will defeat the Demon Lord. See, Demon Lord.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I totally kind of butchered that too. So don't at me. Um,
Oh my
yes,
God, that's.
it's okay. We both butchered it. It's fine. I'm with you. It's
I
just
feel
so
like you butchered
long.
it less than me. I still think I did the right thing. I fell on that sword so that when you went up there and did less bad, it looked like you owned it. Because I was
Oh
like,
my
oh my
god.
gosh, this guy knows how to speak Japanese. He can speak real Romanji.
It's actually a little easier for me to read this if it actually was in Japanese.
I
When it's
believe it.
written in like English, it's like Anyways, yeah. So the super long name. So moving forward, you guys will probably call it Manyu. Manyu is actually the official shortening of all that. So we'll just call it Manyu from now on. Manyu, or that RPG with the super long name, whichever you guys prefer. That game will be released in Japan in July 15th. Sorry, that game was released in July 15th last year and is currently planned release sometime in 2023 on Switch and PC. We do have a trailer of that, although there's not a whole lot of gameplay, but you can kind of see the art style. So, do you want to take a look?
You know what? I'm distracted by the thought of, these Japanese companies, some of them seem to be competing on a game that we're not even trying to compete in, guys. And I want somebody out there who's making a video game, an RPG. Here's what I want us to do. Reach out to me because I want to make this a reality.
Okay.
We're going to make the longest title ever. And we're going to do it by we're going to dump your entire game script and put it in the title. It's just the entire game script. And then we'll just shorten it to script, whatever.
You're shortening it to the first, maybe like the first syllable and the last syllable
Yes. Yeah.
of the entire script. I think it'll sell.
Perfect.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's our in. We've been sleeping here, guys. Okay.
It won't matter. It won't matter how good the game is. We just need that like longest game title. That's all we're aiming for. The longest game title. Just get that in, and then we'll fix the game later. The gameplay is secondary.
Yeah, absolutely. As always. Okay, so Monyu, eh? Let's check this
Yes,
out.
Monyu.
Okay, that looks really familiar. Like the character design looks
Yeah,
straight
it
out of
kinda
Little Town Hero.
does.
It looks
Kind of
straight.
does, doesn't it?
Yeah. I was gonna say Game Freak is gonna sue somebody, but that would imply they cared about the game.
There you go. You see that entire title? You see that freaking long title just now? That's what you read. Aren't you proud? That's what you read just now.
Okay, so you said it's easier to read it now that it's in Japanese now. So
Oh,
do you wanna-
absolutely, because it's so much shortened.
It-
Like
it's also really stylized there, so maybe we shouldn't bother trying. But that's yeah, Monyu. Yep.
Monyu is coming again in 2023, and as soon as we get a release date and we're coming close to it, we'll take a better look with probably a longer trailer with actual gameplay. But if you are curious about the gameplay, yeah, I mean YouTube, because this game is already out in Japan in July last year, so it's definitely out there if you're really curious.
Oh, this game is already out in Japan.
Yes,
And they didn't show any
so-
gameplay trailers or footage?
Yeah, which is strange, right? Like you would think that they would give us like a better trailer, but no, that's the only official English trailer there is right now.
So that's the official English. Oh, well, I'm gonna look up a Japanese. I wanted to look up a Japanese gameplay trailer of Monyu.
I found one and it was 4 minutes long.
Okay,
So I didn't want to. So I didn't include it.
Send it to me in Discord here, and I'll pull up, and we can just skip around in it because I want to see what this looks like. Because honestly, that announcement trailer looks bad. It makes me lose interest, and I'm just like, I mean, because it's literally just like some art that's been cut out and then wiggled around a little bit, and I hate that aesthetic. I hate it. That doesn't pass for me as like a trailer. But if the game's already out, what are they hiding? That's what I want to know.
I don't think they're really hiding anything. It's just very strange. Hold on a sec. There you go. I'll DM you
Okay.
right now. Okay, hold on.
All right, we'll pull this up and we'll do a live reaction.
There you go. Take a look at that.
Okay. Let me add this to the docket here.
You can kind of skip to.
Yeah. I'll definitely skip around here a bit. This
You can skip to 1 minute mark.
Okay.
So
Here, I'll
you can
just,
change classes. There are 6 characters.
mhm.
Travel to the dungeon.
Okay. Oh, okay. There we go. So there's
the dungeon
the
crawler.
yeah. There's the first person dungeon crawling. Okay. This is something I am far more impressed by and more interested and intrigued by.
Mm-hmm.
Just seeing it in action to some degree. Pretty nice. Okay, so there's like not random encounters. They've managed to figure out a way to do that here. That's pretty neat. The art style
It's more like DQ style fighting.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It even sounded a little bit when that battle started, that chime. It sounded
Like
a little
that?
Dragon Questy right there too.
Like that, yeah.
Okay, that's not so bad. I'm interested. That teaser trailer really did a disservice.
Didn't do it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This,
I don't
though-
know why they decided that was a good idea.
Yeah, because it certainly wasn't. So thank you for that. Yeah, that's
No problem.
I know that there are people who really enjoy first person dungeon crawling, and it's kind of been one of those things where since the end of the 3DS, it's the future of certain games that have kind of revived the genre it's been kind of hanging in the balance, you know. Etrian Odyssey.
Yeah.
That was nobody's really sure how that's going to be on a new platform because it was kind of like really tied into that whole 2 screens thing, right?
Yeah, it's kind of fallen by the wayside, absolutely. And I mean, we've seen how Nintendo handles like the 2-screen games as they move over to Switch and to various levels of success. So I can definitely understand like the anxiety. Like if you're a fan of this sort of like games, like you wonder how this is gonna end for you, right? Or how the series is gonna end up being like. I like to remain hopeful. I think that if there's enough demand for it, the companies will do it. So definitely vote with your wallet. Absolutely.
Sure. And it kind of it's tangentially related, but it kind of makes me wonder like how other game developers might learn from that. You know, if you design an entire game around a gimmick for a Nintendo console, like you can't, I suppose, like they're not necessarily going to take care of you in their future console, right? Like if you built an entire game around the wiggle remote controls of the Wii, for instance, you could play, you could have moved it to the Wii U, right? But then, you know, what about now? I guess to an extent, those are still existing in like the Joy-Cons, I guess, on Switch, but not so much on the Wii or the Switch Lite.
Right.
And then the Wii U still sort of had that 2-screen mechanic where you could have something different on your pad that was then from what was on your TV, right?
Yeah.
It just raises some interesting questions about like Nintendo's doing these weird things to try to innovate gaming, but when they don't necessarily take hold on a really deep level, Nintendo's going to walk away from that. So if you design an entire game around those mechanics or an entire franchise around those mechanics, well, I think that's really going to dissuade people from really buying into them in the future if they can't, count on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, but I don't know. It's just a random thought that came up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Nintendo that's sort of a double-edged sword, right? On the one hand, that's sort of what kept Nintendo from this whole console war, right? Like instead of fighting with Xbox and PlayStation on constantly upping on specs and just like duking it out on paper, they've chosen a completely different route, right? And
Yeah.
they're winning in many ways, right? 3DS, the Wii, the Switch, all three of these have shown, exceedingly, good sale numbers relative to the competition. So the Vita and the PSP from Sony as a handheld versus like the console of that generation, Nintendo consistently outsells in volume. So but that has a lot to do with each of the systems sort of like innovative gameplay and hardware, if you will. So for the Wii, of course, it's the Wii mode. For the 3DS is the dual screen, and then for
and we're not going to talk about the Wii U.
We're not going to talk about no, we're not going to talk about the Wii U because the Wii U it's a failure, but not it has nothing to do with like innovation in hardware. I think it has some other reasons,
for
right?
sure.
But yeah, but strictly talking about that, like, so that's been sort of like the boon, right, for Nintendo. I always feel like, and of course, it works that they are
pretty well. I'm pretty surprised at how well that went.
Okay.
Sweet. Okay.
Sweet. Yeah. I'm just saying that, just to recap, is Nintendo, that's sort of like their number one thing is to be innovative, and it helps that they are the biggest like first party game producers, right, in terms of IP.
Yeah.
So they can in-house develop these capabilities simultaneously with the software side, right? And demonstrate how these things could be, super cool. Whereas like PlayStation, if you look at how like the VRs is doing, it's not going well, right? And part of it, I think, is because they can't convince Game Studio to invest into doing it. They haven't shown anything that's like super groundbreaking and cool that like really
the closest was, I think, Valve with Half-Life Alyx. I think that was the last like real, I guess you could say, killer app. And that was 2 years ago now.
Yeah. So, but that's the boon.
Yeah.
And the bane is basically what you just said. What happens after the system is, no longer supported. Like what do you do with these IPs? I don't think there's a good solution other than just build your name, make your money. Try not to build it around a core mechanic so much as building around a core theme. Like, because thematically, you can transfer these things with new ways to play. But if you develop a game based on the core mechanics that's tied to a unique piece of hardware, you're kind of signing your own death sentence to the series. So,
that is very good point. Okay. Well, thanks.
Right.
Sorry for that rant, everybody. I was just really sidetracked by that entire train of thought there. So
I think that's what people are here for, though, right? You want to hear the inner thoughts of the Derek. So please keep it coming. But why else are you here? What else are you here? They're here to listen
for the RPGs, man. Let's make with the RPGs. We're dropping viewers. Just kidding. No.
Oh no.
No. Dark Deity
we're down to 5 viewers. You got scared for a second.
Dark Deity though.
Yes. Have you heard of that?
What's that?
Have you heard of the game?
I have not heard about it.
You want to take a look first before we talk about it?
Sure. Yeah.
I think you'll be surprised. I was surprised.
All right, let me pull this up here.
This is fun.
You face the Sonori.
Huh. That looked like an interesting battle system. Little non-standard there. 9 out of 10 from But Why Though? Oh, it's a remastered map. Okay, so this is a remastered game, I see. Oh, wow. Yeah, that looked pretty basic before, and they're going hard now, though.
Yes.
Dark Deity.
Dark Deity. Yes. So, speaking of the art, I see people are already noticing the art. Wait. So, the the thing is playing. So what I think is interesting about the art is that there's sort of like an inconsistency in the character arts, I've got to say.
Should I take another look at that? Because I wasn't looking at it very critically. I was just trying to get a feel for the gameplay.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay,
if you want. Yeah.
Yeah, let's watch that again.
Yeah, there's definitely some odd inconsistency. Like some of them looks really good, and the other ones is just like, what did you do? Like this guy right here, just like,
Yeah, he's okay.
This girl's also, I'm not an art person. I can only tell you from like just visually, it's kind of amateurs. But some of them looks like really good. Like that
Okay,
elf just
yeah.
now, or this girl. Like
Yeah.
What happened? Like that looks
Okay,
like
those two look really
amazing.
great. Yeah, they look
And then
great.
some of the other ones are like, it's fine, but it's not. The quality is not quite the same.
It's just inconsistent, basically.
Yeah, it's
So
inconsistent. The beauty of indie games, though, some people actually like that. They prefer it. So I'm not gonna go into it. Art is very subjective. So
for sure.
yeah, this is not me criticizing it. Absolutely, sir. Overall, the aesthetics in the game looks great to me. So, okay. So, the Fire Emblem-like grid-based tactical RPG. Is the video playing again?
Nope, I got it.
Okay. Will be a Switch port with new arts and all kinds of rebalancing adjustments. It is immediately available on PC, but that would be the old version. I don't know if there's any plans to like revitalize the PC version, but the port is set to release in March 17th, 2022. So look forward to more news. We'll cover this as the time comes closer, probably in a week or two.
See?
As we get more confirmed news, we'll talk about it. But this is just to get on your radar that this is a thing.
Yeah, Year of the Tactical RPG confirmed.
There you go. I was kind of like thinking to myself, like, well, wait until you see what game I have for you later. When you first brought it up, I'm like, yep, okay, we're gonna talk about another tactical RPG in just a second. Yeah. And there's this one last game that we would like to talk about in terms of game announcements. This time it's not a tactical RPG, but a meta RPG that is a parody game that pokes fun of classic RPGs and game development. And I just found out about this today. So did you want to look at this as well?
I do want to take a
Let's
look
go.
at this because meta humor is absolutely my jam.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, let's go ahead and play this here.
Oh, you're gonna like this.
You know, this is really cool, but I'm launching a game, not a cartoon. We need more drama, more art. How about using stop motion?
Stop motion. Okay. Looks pretty Nickelodeon there.
Yeah, that's definitely too much art. Listen, you are the animation studio here. You decide. I just want it full of explosions, special effects, exciting new... Huh?
You know, you don't need big animation studios or special effects to make a great trailer for your game. All you really need is already in your heart.
In the Kokoro, let's go.
Fudge.
comedic adventure where bugs are your friends. Enjoy exploring a crazy and outlandish world full of quirky characters and funny homages to the history of video games.
Okay.
Wade through broken storylines and landscapes in your quest to challenge the developers' rule over the game. Collect all funny bugs and glitches and use them to progress. Then start all over again, make different choices, and become the bane of errors.
Okay.
Oh no. Coming April 1st on PC and Switch.
April 1st, huh?
Right.
April 1st.
Well, it kind of is, but not in that sense. So I should probably just shut up.
Okay, so I've got to say that included the game for Derek, and I don't think I was. I think I read Derek correctly. That is definitely something that you want to take a look at.
Yeah. I'm okay, so I dig the I like some things about it. I'm curious. My interest has been piqued. I'll say that much.
Okay. Okay.
I'm curious about what the gameplay actually looks like in practice, but we'll see. Because that's really all, in my opinion, that's all you really need for a good trailer. Is I just want to see what the game looks like in motion, you know?
Yeah, and I think personally, I think it's going to be a little bit like Evoland. Have you ever played that game before? Have you ever seen that before, Evoland?
I have Evoland 1 and 2. I've not
Yes.
played them though.
So, I mean, well, I've only played Evoland 1. I've not played Evoland 2. But essentially, you go through this journey, and as you pass through the stages, the technological level of the game sort of like evolve with you. So, and you play like, at 1 second it'll be like a 8-bit, open world, not an open world, like open map, overworld kind of like RPG.
Yeah, you start off as like a blip, right? As like a square.
Well, you start off as you start off as like a Game Boy sort of like black and white kind of sprite, and then you move to like the NES era, then you the Super Nintendo, and at some point it's like N64. You get that like kind of polygon feel, and it's pretty cool. There's not a whole lot of gameplay that evolves with the within the each of the generation, if you will. It's more like to me it felt more like an art piece and a story book than it is like a game, because a lot of things is very set. There's only so much you can do because the style keeps changing, the system keeps changing, so it's not very robust in any way. But I don't think that was the point.
in nature.
It's more artistic in nature. Yeah. So my worry for this game, and I guess I'll start, is that this game is probably going to end up being that way. That is going to end up being more of a art piece and a parody than it is going to be any kind of really involved in-depth game system. Feel free to prove me wrong though, Terrorbane, but if you're anything like Evoland, which I do like Evoland, it's going to be more of an art piece, more of an experience than like another classic RPG that you can really like sink your teeth in and like build out your party. I don't think it's quite that. It's going to be more jokes like laced everywhere, and jokes can also be kind of hit and miss with people too. So hopefully this will be a good one. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this thing plays out.
Okay. Yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit of, gosh, this is probably a really deep cut for people who might remember, but do you remember Stanley Parable?
I met the guy.
You met the guy?
I met the guy at did I ever tell you the story of meeting So I was at MacFest one year, and I ran into one of my a friend that I've met through a fraternity long ago. I haven't seen her in years. I said her because it's a co-ed fraternity. It's weird, but so I ran into her, and it turns out she's really big on gaming, and I actually never knew that. Well, she was at a tabletop game, so I was hanging out, and she was like, "Hey, do you wanna join us for a quick game of Tokaido?" I was like, "Oh yeah, sure. I love playing tabletop games." I'm like, but I gotta say, like, I've got like a thing that I need to go to. He's like, oh yeah, sure, we'll play a quick game. So we did. The person who was the game master, or at least the person who was explaining the game to us, and the narrator, is the guy who made Stanley Parable, but you wouldn't know that, right? He was just
Yeah.
there just playing games.
Mhm.
And here's the fun part. I was like, hey, listen, I gotta go to the panel with extra credit, right? And I don't know you guys know extra credit,
Oh yeah,
right?
I know
But
of
it's
extra credits.
yeah, James. And I was like, oh yeah, no, I gotta go to James' panel because like it's really cool, and like that's half the reason why I go, right? It's because
Yeah.
that's I get to see them in person and listen to. And I think that year they had like the game lawyer. I don't know if you know about that guy too. He's the one who gives like advice to like indie developers, like free legal advice on just
Mm,
like indie developers, so that they don't enter like the DMCA territory if you want to use any like fair use material and et cetera, et cetera. So
gotcha.
he's also super famous on YouTube, and so that was the year. So I was like, hey, I gotta run. And then he's like, oh yeah, I'll see you there. I'm like, oh cool, like I'll see you there, man. So I sat down and I'm waiting for the talk to happen. And then James is like, oh hey, look who showed up, and he was looking towards the door. And then he's like waving the guy to come over, and then he introduced like everybody. It's I forgot his name. It's like yeah, he you may or may not know him. He made Stanley's Parable, and I'm like, well played. When he said, yeah, I'll be there, that's what he meant. I'm like,
Yeah.
well played, sir. Well played. But I think that's the cool thing about MacFest. So if any guys want to stop by MacFest, you may run into all kinds of like YouTube celebrities and game developers, and you wouldn't know who they are if you don't know what they look like. They're just blend in to the crowd, and they're just playing tabletop games. They're playing arcade games. You'd never know who you'll
It's
run
true.
into.
It's
It's
true.
crazy.
A
Yeah,
lot of YouTubers look like just normal, average, everyday people.
yeah. YouTubers.
Almost. It's weird.
Almost, yeah. I mean, I'm sure you guys will spot Derek from like a mile away, but he's got that aura. No, but see, the cool thing though is like, so you've got things like PAX. Like PAX is more like an industry event. Like they've got badges. They're there to represent a company. Here though, they're there to play. They're not here to represent any company. They're not working. Right,
Yeah.
so that's the difference. So I highly recommend you guys coming by. I've been telling Derek to come by MacFest for like years now. It's like, dude,
I'm
when you
sure
gonna
I
come? It's
will
like,
at some point. It's just
one day.
yeah.
One
It'll
day
happen.
you will. It will happen. But yeah, that was our little encounter.
All right. Well, do you want to move
Well,
on to some industry news here for a minute?
absolutely. So here's a quick one.
Yeah.
Nothing to really show you, but just to FYI for anyone who's interested, Sony has announced a series of 3 play broadcasts focused on Babylon's Fall, Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin, and Ghostwire Tokyo. They'll be available for watch on the PlayStation Japan's YouTube page. We'll link in the description on February 19th. February 26th and March 19th, respectively. So if those are the games that you're interested in seeing more of, you will have a chance to do that through the play broadcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, not a whole lot there, not a whole lot of discussions, just so you're aware that this is a thing. And then there are a couple of countdown sites that popped up over the week, and we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
do you want to show the sites, Derek?
Yeah, let me go ahead and
Okay.
pull one of them up here.
Yeah, let's do it,
All right. Here.
just so you guys can see the countdown. I'm waiting
right.
for Derek to make a dad jokes about countdowns.
All right. Here we go. This is oh wow. That's the countdown timer for Capcom's site, everybody.
Yes, in 3 hours. So, midnight today. Midnight today.
Jeez.
Yeah, I wrote tomorrow, but I wrote the docket yesterday. So what I mean is tonight at midnight. So in 3 hours, we'll get to see what the Capcom countdown site is all about. Now, fan speculation is either they're betting on either a DLC for Resident Evil Village, or the remake of Resident Evil 4, which has been in the sort of rumor mill for a little while now, or both, because that would be crazy. They're saying, hey, the font looks a lot like Resident Evil. So it's sorry for all the folks who are into Breath of Fire. It's probably
Yeah.
not going to be that.
I wasn't getting my hopes up. I was just trying to pull up the page source for a minute, just see if I could spot anything. I'm sure everybody's already scraped it though
Yeah.
for anything, and I
But
did find by
wouldn't it be crazy though if they deliberately used Resident Evil font and then like, just kidding, it's Breath of Fire 6. What's your favorite?
again.
Damn it! Anything but Breath of Fire. Anything but
No. I mean, Breath of Fire 6 the remaster,
remastered.
the mobile game. Woohoo!
The mobile game, yes, with 20 DLCs. Yeah. So,
But that could be anything though. That could be Mega Man related potentially. That could be Street
could be.
Fighter. It
could be.
It's Final Fantasy, or it's yeah, Final Fantasy. It's Mega Man Legends 7 or whatever.
50. No, I well,
Adventures of Trombone 2.
it could really be anything, right? But again, just the fan favorites, like speculation right now is gonna be Resident Evil just because of the font. And
Didn't they
aesthetics.
just announced they just put out new Resident Evil though, didn't they?
Village, yeah.
Village.
So the DLC, yeah.
So oh yeah.
So that makes sense. But then Resident Evil 4 remake has been in the rumor mill for like the past year.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
this could, because think about, like, we had the rumor mill for Xenoblade Chronicle 3 just like a month right before the announcement.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm seeing a trend here, right? And here's like in lieu of the Nintendo Direct, here's our countdown site. It could be. So I'm just sharing with you guys what's being set up there.
Okay,
I'm
so I'm
not
gonna
saying it is that.
since it's gonna be in 3 hours, my guess. I'm just gonna throw some of my own rumors here for the rumor mill.
Breath of Fire 6, mobile
7. Breath of Fire 7.
Okay.
Because I don't want to see a remake of 6, so we're gonna go 7. We're gonna see Sweet Home 2. Sweet Home
2, yeah.
Yep, from the Famicom, what sparked Resident Evil all those years ago. So Resident Evil, a new Shenmue. No, not Shenmue. Not Shenmue. That's not them. I'm thinking of
Shenmue.
Yeah, I said Shenmue, but I was thinking, God, what's the samurai one? With the undead in the past. Onimusha.
Yeah.
Onimusha, yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely a new Onimusha. Yeah. We can.
A new Onimusha. You can tell from the font because of the way that it is. Here, I'll show you that again here. That's that's perfect font for Onimusha Countdown. What else could it possibly be?
I'm betting my money on Mega Man. Definitely the Blue Bomber. I'm
all
gonna
in
root for all in on maybe Dark Stalker. I think a new Dark Stalker would be nice, right? Instead of Street Fighter, yeah.
Sure. Why not? Okay, so we have no idea. So we'll just follow up next week and we'll tell you who was right.
Yes. We'll definitely do that. All right. The next countdown site. Into the next countdown.
Shall I just show the countdown site for this one?
And then, why not?
Yeah, I'll just pull it up right now.
We get the visual so that we can talk about it. All right. So the next countdown site, it's also going to end relatively soon. In fact, there's new stuff there now. Oh, hello. I didn't even see this before. Oh, there it is. I've got to say, this is a way better looking countdown site. I think they're doing the countdown thing correct, and I think Capcom can learn a thing or two from ATLUS. But so this is the ATLUS countdown site, and if you will notice, it actually says So Hacker. That is the they have the fourth series collection thing now. It was only up to 3. Is it playing right now?
There
Is it
is
live right now?
there's a 40-minute video up here.
Oh, okay. Information gathering sequence. Okay, 今回を教えてください. So, please tell us about your regrets.
Okay, so this is one of those things where they poll Twitter to get some feedback from the people who are participating in this event that's going on right now, right, Baku? Is that kind of what I'm getting?
Is this live? Is this live right now? Is this over?
No, this is over.
Oh, okay, so there were only 3 videos when I was writing the docket, so this one is brand new. I haven't seen that yet. So, friends speculate that it could either be a remaster, remake, or a sequel of the 1997 game Devil Summoner Soul Hackers of the same name, originally released on Sega Saturn, which seems like a good time for them to do a remaster, remake, or sequel, right?
Sure.
ATLUS official Japanese YouTube, which is called ATLUSTube. This is really cute. They have been releasing a series of information collection sequence, which is basically what you just saw just now, where they would live stream and viewers are prompt to answer certain questions that appear on screen through their Twitter. Does that make sense? So they'll show you the sequence on YouTube, they'll show you the question, and then they're like, okay, now hop on your Twitter and add us, and then answer the question, right? And then we'll gather it, right? And one of the questions that we just saw just now, it's like, tell us about your regrets. Some other question was like, what is your favorite monster? What is your favorite food? It's like, it's kind of all over the place. So we're not sure what this whole like gathering sequence is about. But during these sequences, right, between the questions, there are these staticky image flashes, right? And that's what Derek was showing.
Like this.
Right? There you go, like that. That gives you a hint of what the game is to come, right? I guess it's not in between questions, it's like during the question.
Yeah,
but
it
randomly,
just as it plays. Yeah.
Right. Randomly there'll be staticky flashes. So here's what we gathered so far without seeing the 4th one, because that's brand new. I'm seeing that image just now for the first time. So here's what we gathered. It appears that it would be an original game with new characters, or at least a remake with new characters, because the person that's being flashed in does not appear to be any character from the original game. Maybe a redesign. And that the image, particularly that Derek had shared with me and someone else has shared with me, where they see an R1 key clearly visible in the bottom right of that image, which would suggest that this will come out on a PlayStation system and definitely not a mobile title. So that's definitely going to be a good news for a lot of you. I personally think that the prospect of a remaster, remake, or sequel would be very interesting on the PlayStation console, especially since they've given SMT 5 to the Switch. I think it's about time they show PlayStation some love. I'm sure I can name a couple of people who didn't own the Switch who are big SMT fans. They got the Persona 5, and they're like, oh, come on! Like, I was betting on PlayStation as being the console to be able to play all the SMT games. Maybe this is another thing that they can sink their teeth into. What do you think, Derek?
I think so. So here, I've pulled up another like freeze frame here. Interesting. We've pulled up another freeze frame here that they flashed here of an error, and it looks like somebody's like holding a gun of some sort, or it looks like I see a hand in the bottom right corner here. And then that looks like, I don't know. It's probably, is that an evoker? I don't know. I don't know.
I think ATLUS is playing this like revealer game so much stronger than Capcom. Capcom just has the site and just counts down.
Yeah.
Right? But like
ATLUS is doing stuff. They're going places with this.
Oh yeah. ATLUS has that whole interaction, cross-platform interaction, right? From Twitter to YouTube. They're showing you little bits and pieces, and that just really feels like the speculation train, right? I love it. I love how they're doing this right now. It's got me intrigued, and I'm not even an SMT fan, so
So
I want to know what happens.
And one of the main reasons that this is starting to drum up a lot more like interest right now is that this a lot of people initially were like, "Oh, this is probably just some mobile game, some mobile port of Soul Hackers on DS or whatever. You know, no big deal, much ado about nothing." But it's not, because it's coming to PlayStation 1. We can tell because it says R1 instead of like ZR or, you know, whatever they each console has like their own different like name for the right bumper, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, the right shoulder button. So it's coming to a Sony console, not a Nintendo console. It's probably going to take advantage of the console hardware.
Yeah, that's right. So, you know, some other folks were like, "Oh, it might be just like a port, you know, a direct port. You know, they're not going to do anything other than just maybe upscale a little bit." That also does not seem to be the case. It seems like they're really going to put in some new content in here at least.
Yeah.
So only time can tell, of course. But you only get to wait one more day to find out exactly what it is. And of course, we will be on the lookout and we will talk about it next show once we know what this is all about.
And if it's really crazy awesome, then I'll probably make an extra video too, just to you know, just to have something out there.
Definitely.
But it's exciting. I'm excited about this because this is something that I definitely missed out on. And you know, SMT is at this point, since I'm playing through SMT5, like, and I've played all of the personas, I'm invested now. Like I'm like, okay, this is actually kind of becoming my jam. SMT5 has, I'm sure it's way different from Soul Hackers, the way that SMT5 was way different from Persona, but like the whole universe is something that I'm starting to get kind of drawn into a little bit. So yeah.
What is your favorite thing about it though? Like, I mean, I've only played P3 and it wasn't my jam. I've been told that P4 and P5 would change my mind, so we'll see. But you know, but what do you like about, you know, all of this like SMT sort of universe? Like, what's the one thing that's like really drawing you?
So what's interesting about it is I'll have a video about it here pretty soon, I think. But the SMT series, specifically, at least SMT5, it treats basically all religions and all mythologies and stuff as basically equal footing. They all coexist. Like they're all a form of reality. I'm not sure exactly what the backstory is behind that, but they all do exist. And it's really interesting that they all kind of coexist and they interact with one another in a way. It reminds me a lot of the book American Gods by Neil Gaiman, which is really great book, by the way. I would recommend it. It's pretty the games are pretty irreverent in some ways, and they're not afraid to get really dark sometimes, and I really appreciate that. The Persona games, not quite as much. I feel like they do get a little bit darker, but I feel like they stayed kind of happy-go-lucky because it's an alternate universe where a calamity happened versus one where a calamity did not happen. So I don't know. It's hard to sum it up, but basically, as of right now, it's just kind of a dark, broody atmosphere where basically our lives are just, you know, hanging in the balance of some, you know, crazy, you know, otherworldly beings that, you know, that are vying for control essentially. And yeah,
that sounds like every other JRPG.
That's true.
You really think about it.
It's true. It's because I'm doing a very poor job of saying how it's different.
I'm just poking fun at it. Yeah,
no, I get you though.
Yeah. You know, funny that you talk about the whole religion aspect. I think that's something unique to the Shinto sort of belief that allows them to sort of blend in all these sort of different deities and religion. And they've been doing that for a long time. When the Chinese sort of mythology came into Japan, along with like Buddhism, they have absolutely no issue accepting all of these and sort of blending them all in. So by the time the Western, like, you know, Judeo-Christian or other kind of mythology sort of comes in, they have absolutely no issue blending those in too, because
Uh-huh.
it didn't stop them before. It's not going to stop them now, right?
Yeah, it's
They,
like
yeah.
they they collect religions, right? So, or gods and stuff. They put them up on their shelf, and so then Western imperialists come and they're like, "Here's Christianity. This shall be the religion." And they're like, "Oh, cool. We'll put this next to the on the shelf."
no,
Oh, cool. I don't have this edition yet. Let me put this up here. Right.
you say that, but there's actually an anime, and I forgot what it's called off the top of my head. But it basically follows the adventure of Buddha and Jesus.
That sounds
living
pretty interesting.
in modern day. No, it's super hilarious.
It
and,
sounds
like,
familiar, actually.
Yeah,
Well-
I just forgot. I forgot what it's called. It's not. It's not.
Are they
popping
like
up,
are
but-
they like roommates in an
Yes.
apartment?
yes. And they just got like a T-shirt on that says Jesus and Buddha. Like that was it. That's just all they. Yeah. So I think I think Persona is in that sense is a very unique outcome of that sort of religious custom.
Mhm.
They can celebrate Christmas and then go right back to Shinto and then attend a Buddhist ceremony. They don't even bat an eye. No one questions, how could you possibly do all these things? That's a very like a Western sort of like question. They don't care. They're like, yeah, whatever. I can certainly delve deeper into all this, but I think we're veering a little bit further away from
Yeah.
game chat. So if you guys are ever interested, definitely reach out and I can chat with you. So we've got one more teaser site coming up. You want to take a look at that last one? This last one's interactive. You want to play around with
Ooh.
it?
Oh.
Yes.
So are you telling me that this one is the final countdown?
I was waiting for it.
It's the
Ah, I
final
hate you.
countdown.
I was waiting for it.
DMCA'd. There we go.
Waiting for it. Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh.
Oh.
Okay, what do we got here?
Space to interact, and up, down, left, right to control your little person.
Okay, here. Let's
Yep, there you go.
Oh,
And then you
okay.
can hit space to interact. I'm not translating everything.
Aw.
I'm not translating everything. I think you're reading some kind of a diary just now. But anyways, yeah. So as you're doing this, let me talk about this a little bit. So
Okay.
this is the new teaser site that Nipponichi just popped up. And for those who don't know what Nipponichi is of the Disgaea fame. And it depicts a man in a research facility where you can control him to examine different objects, as you see Derek is doing right now through a screen. And at some point, after you interacted with enough items, which actually I probably just once per item, you can exit the room, and then it will give you a date for the next update. Along with a call for action for you to retweet this, which yours truly had. And the next update is going to be February 22nd. So we don't know exactly what this thing is about, but we just like to bring it to your attention that this is the thing. So there you go. Midnight, February 22nd, next update. Please click the retweet. That's all there is. That's all there is. This is as fresh as you're gonna get because this just came up today.
All right. Dang.
Yes. Yeah.
That's cool.
There's not much to say other than there you go. This is why I'm just like, Capcom, you got to step up your review game, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
ATLUS is
Capcom.
doing all these, and then Nipponichi got this whole like game thing going on. Like Capcom, what's going on, man?
Yeah. Let me go back. Actually, let me take another look at that Capcom. Just double check if there was anything I missed on the Capcom site. All right.
Yeah, that did look a whole lot like Pokemon. We're not sure if that new game gonna have that aesthetics, or maybe it's just the theme that they're going with. I didn't have time to read through everything and translate it for you, and I'm like, yeah, it's especially difficult for me to translate some of these without kanji, I've got to tell you. So yeah, it's a very blunt, just like 3 hours.
It's-
like, yeah,
it's-
okay.
Doesn't even tell you how many minutes.
No, they didn't even bother to give you
And
the minutes.
Also, I gotta be honest, the controls on this game are really bad. I can't get it to move at all. So
Yeah, it's glitching out already. No,
Yeah.
no faith. Yeah. Definitely Breath of Fire though. Definitely
For
Breath
sure.
of Fire. So,
100%.
I mean, I see that when you see the 7, you're not seeing 7 right now, but I swear that 7 looks like that's gonna be it. Like Breath of Fire 7. They're gonna
agree.
Just take that 7.
I agree. All right. So, do you want to talk about the big news that everybody's kind of been talking a little bit about? We might be in danger of beating a dead horse with this one at this point because it's been kind of like the big news cycle the entire since the end of our last stream. Basically, we're like, Nintendo, you're awesome, and then this one we're like, Nintendo, you're sucking.
So, for the uninitiated or for those who just weren't aware, Wii U and 3DS eShop will be closing in 2023. So Nintendo announced that for the North American shop, they will be closed in late March 2023, which means that users will no longer be able to make purchases or download any of the demos from the store. VGC actually did a rough count, and they're counting about 1,000 games that are digital only, combined between two systems that will no longer be available to purchase in any way. Doesn't matter what you do. There's no way to get these games from the closing, unless of course Nintendo gives us away. But doesn't sound like that is the case.
Now these are 1,000 titles total, though. Like, because this is also going to probably include. I mean, 1,000 games, like that's got to be I'm guessing a lot of those are going to be games like Legend of Black Tiger or whatever. You know?
Whatever.
Like really poor quality, like throwaway stuff. Yeah,
grabby, just Chemco.
Like
I like crapping on Chemco.
Almost certainly of those thousands that.
Yeah,
because like. When I've heard of people who are like talking about ones of consequence that we'll be missing out on, like the ones that I've heard about are like a couple of the Ace Attorney games that we never got physically here in the West, which it's a big deal, but it's not like, it's not like a Nintendo first party game that people are going to be like wanting. I mean, some people are going to want to play these games in the future at some point for sure, but
I think the big one that I saw is Revelation. So it is a DLC that you can get for Fire Emblem's Fates. It's kind of hard to explain, but Fire Emblem Fates kind of like took the Pokemon route where they like released 2 games simultaneously that's intertwined.
Oh,
right. And then as you play through the game, you can make a choice to switch faction and what have you, right?
Yeah.
And at some point, you can download a DLC that'll take you to like a extra ending, and that's like $20 or something, right? So if you wanted to do that, well, too bad, so sad you can't do that anymore because or at least not through the eShop anymore. But I want to give you guys the date, okay? So May of this year, not 2023, May of this year, you will no longer be able to use credit card to add funds to the Nintendo eShop. So even though the eShop is closing in March next year, in just about 3 months, you will not be able to use your credit card to add funds.
They will be non-fundable. They'll be non-fundable tokens.
Basically, and then wow,
sorry,
wow, and a different kind of NFT, guys. August of this year, you won't be able to use the eShop card to add funds. Although anything that has already been added will be able to be used until March. So as long as you have funds in there, you can use it until March. But by May, you cannot use your credit card to add fund, and by August, you cannot use eShop cards to add funds.
Okay. So until the end of August, you can use your gift cards basically that you buy from GameStop. So if you don't have the funds to buy the stuff you want right now, and you will later, but the credit card payments are down, you'll at least still be able to go buy gift cards from everywhere basically for the eShop.
Ooh, boy, this chaos, I'm sure. But I mean, obviously, best to do your research now. Try to get whatever it is that you want to get. Before May. You've got a little
Yep.
bit of time.
Yep.
You know,
Anything
got a
that
little
you
bit of
want to
time.
pay for, make sure that you do it soon.
Yeah.
Because soon you won't be able to pay for those things that you'll want to get. So,
which is insane. Now,
Yeah.
I can hear people ask, like, well, what about things I've already purchased? Nintendo kind of gets you covered, right? So anything that
Do
you already
they?
purchased, you can continue to download. And anything you own beyond March 2023 and for the foreseeable future, whatever that means, because
Hold on.
there's no promise. Foreseeable future.
That's ridiculous. I mean, I like it. I like that they're at least doing that, but okay, this is so dumb. They're storing the games in the cloud. They're maintaining the servers that you would need, the expensive part. They're essentially just shutting off the payment process for acquiring these games. Legitimately, the only part of this whole process that pays for itself is the part that brings in money. They're like, yeah, we don't want any money anymore, actually. That's what they're okay, because I was like, here's the thing. If they wanted to shut down the servers because of the bandwidth or whatever, I would say that's still dumb, because as things become less popular, the less expensive it is to host and to maintain. So it's like there's really no cost that goes into that. In fact, a lot of the servers that you would use to host your Switch content can be used to host like a virtual machine that hosts your regular content, with a little bit of people who know what they're doing. It should be very simple to do that, but they're just turning off the payment side of things. So they are doing that. They are maintaining all of the servers that go into this. They're just turning off the buy button.
It's probably the bandwidth that they're limiting, I guess. But there's the storage, but then there's like the bandwidth that's required, right?
But these consoles are years and years old. The bandwidth that they're actually using for this has to be so minimal.
Abysmal. And I'm not sure what it is. It might be support that they worry about, right? Because you need to offer a certain level of support, when transactions don't go well and things fail. But even then, unless you're telling me that the price, the amount of sales that they're getting just doesn't justify the level of support that they want to provide, maybe. But I can imagine that.
What support do they have to provide, though? That's the thing, because they're still providing the support of allowing people to download the things that they own.
Yeah, that I'm not sure. I honestly don't know. I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit, but I think this entire situation is dumb. So let's continue. So here's the part that I think has gotten a lot of fans kind of up in arms, right? So Nintendo announced this in an official blog post, and they had actually added a section within the FAQ, one question that they had shortly after removed, but it being the internet, who did they think they were kidding? Like, of course we captured it before they removed it. So here's the question. You won't see it in the blog post anymore, and we'll link that blog post, by the way, in the description. But let me just read it out to you what Nintendo put in preemptively. Okay, here's the Q&A. Here's the question. Right. Once it is no longer possible to purchase software in Nintendo eShop on Wii U and the Nintendo 3DS family of systems, many classic games from past platforms will cease to be available for purchase anywhere. Will you make classic games available to own some other way? If not, then why? Doesn't Nintendo have an obligation to preserve its classic games by continually making them available for purchase? Question, right?
Can I say that as far as like corporate Q&As go, That
Woo!
cue goes pretty hard.
Oh yeah.
That cue.
Oh yeah.
That cue. How did that
Ooh.
make it through? Because like usually it's like, question, how can I spend my money now that Nintendo shut down their services? You know, it's like that's what I would have expected. But no,
Yeah.
they're like, this is like a reporter asking like a hard question to a politician.
Doesn't Nintendo have an obligation to preserve its classic games by continually making them available for purchase, you know?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, the wording.
That cue
And-
goes hard.
Yes, and that's why I want to read it live, right?
Love it.
And here's the answer that they gave. Okay.
Yeah.
Across the Nintendo Switch Online membership plans, over 130 classic games are currently available in a growing libraries of various legacy systems. The games are often enhanced with new features such as online play. We think this is an effective way to make classic content easily available to a broad range of players. Within these libraries, new and longtime players can not only find games they remember or have heard about, but other fun games they may not have thought to seek out otherwise. Basically, a whole bunch of nothing burgers just now.
Yeah.
The last line is where it really gets everybody. We currently have no plans to offer classic content in other ways, period.
Yeah.
Woo! Damn. I love how they dance around it a little bit. Like, oh yeah, it's a growing library. It's an effective way for classic content to be available for a broad range of players. Where they can
Nintendo
develop fun games.
Nintendo says, you know, we don't really like people owning these things. We want people to subscribe to our services.
Yeah, I
That
think that's what it
is-
really says.
That's what it really. That's corporate speak, you know, condensed into English here for us. Which
Thank you,
ties in
sir.
very perfectly into what we were talking about last week about Nintendo. I mean, as reasonably priced as $20 a year is, they don't want to prevent future sales or subscriptions to their services by allowing people to own digital copies. I think that Nintendo is taking a shot at digital ownership right now, which is
Yeah.
interesting because, I mean, digital ownership is already the worst form of ownership.
Yeah, well, if you can't even call it ownership, honestly.
Yeah, it's kind of like
Yeah.
leasing.
Yeah, you're leasing. I mean, if you read the legal needs, I think this is like a long time ago. This is right around the time when digital content became more popular through like PS3 and like the Wii.
Mhm.
There was an article that came out that says, hey, if you really read the legal needs, you don't own anything. This is a lease.
Yep.
You're leasing the game. You don't necessarily own, but you pay the same price. And this
think-
is what this
Mhm.
is why I don't buy digital game unless it's like Steam, because Steam's been around for years and years and years and years and years, right? And it's on a PC, right? So
Yeah.
it's not on a console. But for things like PlayStation Network and eShop, I honestly have no faith. I have all these hard copies for that reason.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that like Nintendo has had a really terrible history of like keeping track of the things that you do own a license to play. When
Yeah.
you had your Nintendo Switch, you could bring things from Nintendo Wii. You could own these games, but if your Wii died, you'd have no way of going back and getting those games again. Like there's no recovery. You didn't have an account that had these tied to it. You had a Wii that had games tied to it.
Yes.
And then you could transfer your titles over to your Wii U, but that all still was basically kept inside the Wii virtual console of the Wii U. It was never tied to an account, even when the Nintendo Wii U had license or accounts
yeah.
eventually. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's still just it's so bad.
Yeah, it's abysmal, and Nintendo just hasn't really caught on to like 2022, quite frankly. So of course, understandably, once the news broke, a lot of fans are just infuriated with Nintendo's lack of consideration, right? And I've read all kinds of comments online for the past week. Like Derek said, like this is kind of like a horse that's kind of beaten to death. But I do want to quote the Video Game History Foundation, which is a nonprofit that's out to try to preserve like games, right? They're really cool. You can read about what they do, but here's the quote from them that I felt like just like really articulated the frustration, right?
Yeah.
End quote. While it is unfortunate that people won't be able to purchase digital 3DS or Wii U games anymore, we understand the business reality that went into this decision. What we don't understand is what path Nintendo expects its fans to take should they wish to play these games in the future. As a paying member of the Entertainment Software Association, Nintendo actively funds lobbying that prevents even libraries from being able to provide legal access to these games. Not providing commercial access is understandable, but preventing institutional work to preserve these titles on top of that is actively destructive to video game history. We encourage ESA members like Nintendo to rethink their position on this issue and work with existing institutions to find a solution, period.
Yep.
Uh,
And I feel like
I mean,
that ties in perfectly to what I said just moments ago about Nintendo, like shutting these servers down. If there's any software on here that you want to pay for, you need to do that before they shut that possibility down.
yeah.
If there's
absolutely.
games that you want to play that are on the, eShop that you won't have legal access to, and you still want to play them, I don't think that'll be a problem.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know,
you
that's
can keep
that's
playing it.
and you can read between the lines there, as you will. Point of the matter is, when it comes to things like video games, whether I am personally okay with when people ask me like, how should I play this game, and it's a game that's like never been re-released, like say Terranigma or something, I say don't bother tracking down a copy to buy. Go just download it and play it that way, because there's no money that's going to the creators or the developers, and that's on them essentially. If they're going to miss out on a sale, you don't need to pay that money to a scalper or to some person flipping a game. If you cannot pay money to play it, then I don't think that's your problem anymore.
Yeah, there's no legal access to it, then
Then you have what is left.
you have what is left. I don't know like the legality of it all, but from a moral standpoint, it's just if you give me a way to pay for it and I don't, like going back to what we're talking about with like Trails from Zero, right? Like now that the official game is coming out, using the Geofront translation, you really have no excuse. You can't even be like, well, this translation is better. Yeah, it's the same translation, right? So so but if you still go out the way, download the game, patch it in, then I don't know, man, I'm gonna look at you a little funny, right?
Sure.
But but if but see, like, good guy Falcom's like, hey, this translation is really good. We're looking for good translation. All the fans love you guys. Why don't we work together and bring this out on our official release on Steam? Awesome, right? Awesome.
Yeah.
And that's coming, right? And I certainly hope that more game companies will sort of take notice and actually do the right thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're trying to do the right thing too. So please, make that possible.
Yep. Pretty much. All right. So
All right.
with that horse
So-
beaten, let's go ahead and move along to fan and community news here.
Yes.
And here's
So-
a PSA for a lot of you guys who are playing Pokemon Arceus right now.
Yes.
There's been a recently discovered glitch that can be game breaking, or rather post game breaking.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Nintendo's going to fix this at some point through a patch. But do you want to go ahead and explain this one there, Baku?
Yeah, sure thing. So during the post game, the player attached. Actually, hold on. Before I continue, I even wrote this. Spoiler alert
Yeah, spoilers.
for everybody. I apologize, but this being the nature of the news, I can't like give you a spoiler-free version. But here it goes. Okay, this is very specific. Okay, in the post game, you're asked to capture a legendary Pokemon. Hold on, Cressania. I'm gonna get yelled at by Pokemon fan. It's not pronounced that way. So you're gonna be asked to capture this Pokemon from a NPC named Melly. And so what happens is that because of the way that you can travel within the game, it is possible to bypass Melly, go straight to the legendary Pokemon, and capture the legend Pokemon without speaking with Melly.
Without
When you
triggering that
do
event. Uh-huh.
Right. So when you do that, Melly will not recognize that you have actually captured the legendary Pokemon and will insist on you going to capture the legendary Pokemon that you have already captured and will not respawn.
Yep.
So you can see how that's a problem. And because of that, you won't get a certain key item to summon Arceus. And without summoning Arceus, you can't capture Arceus, then you can't complete the game. So you can see why this is a big issue.
Yeah.
So if you are one of those unfortunate souls who has gotten really far, who has actually bypassed because you can just fly straight into the area and capture the legendary just to find out that you can no longer have access to Arceus, my condolence to you. There's one solution to that, and that is to restart your game or wait until Nintendo patch it, which we're pretty sure they'll
They've
do.
got
They're pretty
to.
good about it. Yeah, they're pretty good about it. But
Unless they take down the shop that you download the update from, in which case
the next blog post with like a passive aggressive. That's what it is. That Q&A is so passive aggressive. It's so passive aggressive. Don't you have an obligation to preserve games?
No, that's
dare you, sir?
No, that's not passive aggressive. That's aggressive aggressive.
That's straight aggressive. Oh my god. Well, I mean, the fact that they made it Q&A.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that
I
they're
think
like, this is gonna make us look good. That's pretty tone deaf for sure.
Yeah. And I love how they removed it, thinking like, oh, no one saw that. It's like, yeah, no, this is the internet. As soon as you hit publish.
Oh, shoot. They don't like it. Delete it. Undo.
30 seconds, we get a screenshot. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Please, companies, like review everything before you hit the send button. There's no going back. Tweets, blog posts, anything you can post on the net, once it goes out, that's out there.
Yep. The internet is forever. The internet is forever.
Yep.
Hey, Baku, before we wind down, because we are about the point where we're about 2 hours in. Baku, what are you doing? What are you doing these days over on Twitch, and where can people find you?
Sure thing. So you can find me in Twitter underneath. Please drop a follow. I post fun pictures every now and then. I actually just finished Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and the expansion. And let me tell you, that game, if you're on the fence, just do it. It's great. We finished Pokemon Arceus, kind of. But now I'm just
but now you have a game-breaking bug keeping you from finishing it.
Shh, I did not fall victim to that, silly Derek. I follow prompts. Actually, I'm not even there yet. I'm nowhere near that. Like I'm like mid of the game. But no, I just felt like Arceus is a game better enjoyed off stream than to be rushed into making progress.
Yeah.
Which
I gotcha.
Yeah, it is definitely not a game for it. But we are streaming Yakuza Like a Dragon Wednesday through Sunday. So as a matter of fact, after this broadcast, I'll be over on my Twitch channel. So if you want to come by and hang out, I'll be right there. Link down below.
Awesome. All right. And I'm over on Twitch streaming Shin Megami Tensei 5 every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Currently, we are getting our butt kicked repeatedly by strong monsters because we're playing on hard mode. So if you're familiar with SMT5, that's the part where we are right now. So if you're interested, we stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 p.m. Central, and I hope to see you then. Links to our various socials can be found in the description below. Now, I'd like to take a moment and help respond to some questions or comments from the super chats, or as I wrote earlier, the super chads. First one comes from First one comes from Derek Morrison, who says, question for you both. So this is for both of us here, Baku. Who says, what Star Ocean game is your favorite? Also, Derek, he says, has a great name. Thank you very much there, Derek Morrison. I do agree that Derek is a great name. You know, it's one that I kind of fell into, believe it or not. It's not really something that I sought out. It just kind of fell into my lap when I was very young. But I've grown quite accustomed to it. So, but Star Ocean, which one's my favorite? Got to be Star Ocean's Second Story.
And why was that?
It's the only one I've played.
Dang it. Okay, I've got to say that my favorite is Star Ocean 3, but not the ending. I loved everything about the game up until the ending. Just and we actually had a recent chat about that on my stream where someone asked a very similar question. Well, why didn't you like it? Right? I gave them a long short is without spoilers, the ending kind of really hamper the series cohesiveness and really it was a unnecessary limiting factor. I felt the writing itself is okay, but because every game is on a continuous timeline, the way that they had done that ending, the way that they handled it and made it canon, makes it very limiting for them to do anything beyond a certain time in their timeline. Let's just put it that way. So
Okay.
I want to spoil it for people who have never played a game before, but that's my take.
I gotcha.
5 is actually not half as bad as I think people make it sound. In fact, I think 5 is actually quite good. But you know, you guys be the judge of that.
Well, excellent question there, Derek. By the way, great name. Next, we got one from Duo Beard, who says,
Okay.
He says, Derek is one of the few celebrities that he'd like to meet. Well, I agree there, Duo Beard. It'd be awesome to meet up at some point. And then we got one from Darth Taco, who asked, this one goes to both of us, I guess. He says, would you rather see Devil Survivor ports over Soul Hackers? And
Devil Survivor port over Soul Hacker. Like both ports, or
no? He means would we rather see a port of Devil Survivor like more so than the Soul Hackers tweet or teaser that we're kind of seeing a little bit of here?
I am probably the wrong person to ask because I've never experienced Soul Hacker. I didn't have a Saturn growing up, and I'd never really gotten to SMT. But as a, you know, I think as a general statement, anyways, quite honestly, if you know, if this is something that fans enjoy, why not both? Like, I don't know.
Exactly.
Like, is that cheating? Like, did we just cheat? Like, why not both? Like, no, I want one or the other. Give me one or the other.
I mean,
no, yeah.
I think it's a valid response because I haven't played all of those either. Like I said, my first mainline SMT title I'm playing through right now. Besides that, I've been limited in my experience to the Persona games, but I'm very interested in exploring beyond those boundaries here. So Devil Survivor, I think I've got a copy of that. I don't want to overstate what I own, but I know I've got some offshoots of the SMT series that are not Persona and not mainline, and I'd like to explore some of those at some point soon. So yeah, I guess I just got to say I don't really have a preference as of right now. Soul Hackers sounds interesting, but I think Devil Survivor also I've heard good things about. So it's just really, it's just impossible for me to choose between the two at this point. But good question.
Yeah. Not enough to go on, but also, you know, we just talked about this whole like game preservation thing. Like, if it's gonna be like a remaster, that's like a method. It's not 100%, but it's a method of preserving these games, and I welcome it. You know, the more the merrier, right? For anyone who enjoys these like classic titles. So
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for the support here, and. All right, Baku, before we wrap things up, have you got any closing thoughts, any final things that you'd like to say real quick?
Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight, of course. And again, I'll be over at my Twitch channel shortly if you want to just hang out for a little bit, where I turn off the family-friendly filter and just go like full after dark mode. Derek knows what I'm talking about. But also, I just want to thank everyone for making comments. You know, and you know, we do read them. So if you want to just like communicate with us, it's actually a lot easier to read the comments, like, you know, in the comment section than to go back to read the active chat, which I still do, but it's just a little harder because YouTube does not make that easy for me. So
true.
if you have any thoughts that you want to communicate with us, like anything you feel strongly about the things that we talked about today, definitely leave a comment after the video goes on. Also, Derek, I gotta send you the correct description. I think this description is incorrect right now. So let me send you the correct description
Sure.
shortly after. Okay. But yeah, and that's about it. And also, yeah, Nintendo, just like please just be consistent. I want to love you,
I know.
Nintendo. I want to love you, like especially with like Sony being like the super like censorship guy now. Nintendo is like, yeah, no, we're not gonna fall with the whole censorship thing. So
Yep.
I'm just like, that's +1 for Nintendo, and then you got the Nintendo Direct, and now I'm like, I love you, and now this, like, what are you doing?
I know. Just
What are you
some
doing?
just some consistency would be great.
Please. I
Before
wanna
we go
love you,
down a
Nintendo.
whole other rabbit hole, though, I'll go ahead and wrap things up here, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. It has been a pleasure to stream for all of you. If you're new here and if you liked what you saw, do be sure to get subscribed. And if you like the audio versions, if you would like to listen to an audio version, you can find links to those in the description below. We'll try to have something out tomorrow. Chapters will be added later as well. And yeah, everybody, thank you all so much. Oh yeah, be sure to rate us on Apple Podcasts if that's your listening platform of choice, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day or night or whatever, everyone.
Happy time zone.
Yep, happy time zone. Here we go.
Bye.